Hey, I'm Sep Niakan, owner, broker of Blackbook Properties and founder of Blackbook.com. I am here with Ann Nortmann of Douglas Elliman, and she's also the director of sales at Jean-Georges Miami Tropic Residences in Midtown Miami. And today we're going to be sitting down and talking, well, we are sitting down, and we're going to be talking about Midtown and Edgewater, what it is today, and all that we're excited about for its future, for both of the futures of both of those neighborhoods that are right next to each other. And thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm excited to have you here. And I'm excited to be part of this discussion about this neighborhood that I really love.
Speaking of these neighborhoods, Edgewater on the east is bordered by Biscayne Bay, on the west by essentially the railroad tracks, right? And south on Northeast 17th Street up to about Northeast 37th Street. That's Edgewater. And then Midtown is on the northwest part of Edgewater. It's about 6 blocks up and down from 36
to 29th.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Miami Avenue to 2nd.
So those are the borders. Of course, surrounding them, you have Design District to the north of Midtown. To the west of both Midtown and Edgewater, you have Wynwood, which goes all the way to the southern part of Edgewater to the west, all the way to the northern part of Midtown to the west as well. So we're surrounded by a lot of really cool neighborhoods, and then Arts and Entertainment District in downtown is just south of Edgewater as well. So everything's sandwiched in, and then east across the bay, of course, is the great Miami Beach as well. So these are both really well located, really central neighborhoods. So yeah, and just to start us off, tell us a little bit about your background, because you have an illustrious background in real estate, so that everyone gets a sense of where you've been and how you got here.
Sure. So I moved here from Canada about just over 20 years ago, and I really started on the beach, as many people do. I think this is a classic story of somebody moving from the Northeast, and then we feel familiar with Miami Beach. So I moved to Miami Beach. I did end up moving over to Edgewater shortly after. I saw the central location, the convenience of it. And at that time, it also had some new buildings. So I was excited to be in a new building. And then we had the mortgage crisis. And that was really kind of a hard time for us in our business, right? So I changed my business and I started doing more of like commercial real estate. And I started working with developers and looking for land for them, looking for broken deals where there were condominiums that were not selling and they could buy like a part of a building or a half-built building or the plans for a building. And managed to do a few deals like that. And that's how I transitioned into the new development. I started selling the condos to individuals, the individual condos, after these buildings were acquired by these investors. So
your first few developments were on the beach as well, right?
Yeah, I did have one in Coconut Grove, but I had a number of developments on the beach, a number of like boutique loft buildings, and a number of others, some townhomes, and so I ended up living on the beach. I've always lived on the beach or in Edgewater, but I've lived in 5 different buildings in Edgewater. And I seem to kind of come back here. Now I have made the permanent move back to Edgewater because I think this is really my home.
So, I mean, you're really very familiar with the beach. You lived there. You've done a lot of business there. What has drawn you to this side of the bay, and what keeps you coming back?
It's been interesting living here for the last 20 years because I've been able to see the evolution of these areas. And I liked in the beginning how you mentioned the various areas, because I think it's so unique to have these areas that are so diverse and adjacent to each other. Having Midtown, which has tremendous convenience, Wynwood, which is like super cool and edgy and nightlife, and then the Design District, which brings this incredible luxury branding, incredible restaurants, and then, Edgewater, which has incredible waterfront properties. So it's just like everything is within, I want to say like a 3-mile radius.
Yeah. And then if you do want to head to the beach, which the beach has a lot to offer as well, you can hop over 3 different exits straight to the beach. You'll be there in 10 minutes on a typical day.
So that's definitely one of the features that brought me back to Edgewater, this idea of convenience. But also I'm one of many people there seems to be this migration from the beach over to this area. It's because of all the incredible development that's happened. When I first moved here, everything felt a lot more compartmentalized. So you would shop in one area, you would go to work in another area, live in another area, and go to school somewhere else. Now it feels like Miami's developing this core. You can do all of those things in one spot. I just love the convenience. That's one of the main factors. And when I first moved to Edgewater, I always had a view of the causeways. And the busy, on the Friday and the Saturday night, all the traffic would be moving east.
To the beach.
To the beach. Now, the traffic at those times is moving west. And I think it's interesting because people are now going from the beach to Miami, the mainland, for their entertainment. And like this wasn't the case before. So Miami has really developed, it's evolved this area in particular. The design district has brought such an incredible component to Miami that we didn't have before. When we look at the areas that are similar to this in other cities, like, you could say Rodeo Drive, or you could say Worth Avenue. I mean, the design district just brings it to the next level because not only do they have these incredible brands, but they've brought architecture. They've brought design. They're bringing culture.
Mm-hmm. Every corner is a piece of art. It's
right. And I passed by the other day and there was like a symphony out there and they were doing an outdoor concert. So Miami is now culturally relevant and it's all happening here in this area.
Yeah. So let's get into some more details about Edgewater, and then we'll get into Midtown as well. Yeah. We're talking about what has made Edgewater a place where you can come and have it be your neighborhood and where you don't really need to leave or go very far to get everything you want. We have the Adrian Arts Center, where you can have the Ziff Ballet and Opera House, plus Adrian Arts Center, where they have Broadway, off-Broadway shows come here all the time. And then you have, just past the border of Edgewater, we have the Perez Art Museum, the Museum of Science, and of course the Kaseya Center, where the Miami Heat play. And then from entertainment, I don't know if I missed anything, but we go to shopping, right? Basic needs like, hey, I want to go to get some grocery shopping.
Right.
And so we have Publix, which has been here for a long time in 17. And actually, there was a rating just the other day. I was listening to radio. The two most well-regarded shopping brands, grocery shopping brands in the U.S. were rated as Publix and Whole Foods, surprisingly.
We have both.
And we have both. So Whole Foods is coming. What street is it?
So that's at 29th and Biscayne. We're expecting that to be open in the next couple of months. That's going to be great. And that's, if I can go back a little bit to the evolution of the area. So, when we first met, there was a little new construction boom in that Edgewater area. We had that mortgage crisis. So it sort of, it died down for a little while. And then it came back. And now we've got a tremendous number of luxury condominiums there. And so now we're starting to see more commercial amenities be built because now, these luxury, residences need to have these, Whole Foods and various commercial amenities that we just didn't have before.
True, absolutely. So speaking of that, the evolution of the restaurants in Edgewater, right? Just on the south side of Edgewater, we have Claw. We have Casa Donna. We've had Amara at Paraiso for a while, all waterfront restaurants.
Yeah.
And then there's a small handful coming, with the Villa Miami project. That's a major foods group project. They're going to have a waterfront restaurant there. And then Ario Reserve as well. So in terms of waterfront restaurants, surprisingly, Miami is
doesn't
not.
Have.
Yeah.
I know. That was one of the shocking things that I noticed when I first moved here. It's like we've got all this incredible water views, but no waterfront restaurants, or a very limited number of waterfront restaurants. So with the additional restaurants that are coming, we're going to be the highest concentration of waterfront restaurants in Miami.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's true. And then besides, of course, restaurants within Edgewater, those restaurants, there's also everyday restaurants and cafes and shops all over Edgewater as well. And then because Edgewater is so darn central, you can go to any of the sister neighborhoods that are a 10-minute walk, 15-minute bike ride, a 5-minute Uber ride, and pretty much have dozens and dozens of restaurants, additional groceries like Trader Joe's, which is in Midtown.
Yeah.
And so you either end up in Wynwood usually, with a tremendous amount of restaurants and very creative, or you end up in Midtown.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Before we go, I really want to get to Midtown as well. But before we go there, one of the things that I feel is still maybe a little bit missing in Edgewater, if you look at just Edgewater by itself, is office space. It's got some Class B type, office space and so on, but not anything really high end yet. That seems to be more in downtown and Brickell being the mecca of that. There's a project, Tower 36, that's been announced, although one article is that it's a class A++ office space, and then another article is that it's multifamily. So who knows what it's ultimately going to be.
I understand it that it's probably going to be a mixed use of some sort. We're really excited about it. I think it's going to be an incredible addition to the neighborhood. That intersection will be greatly improved. We really welcome all these, especially these more innovative, more interesting architecture buildings. We really welcome those to the neighborhood. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, definitely will add to the skyline here. Yeah. Alongside, of course, the amazing luxury projects that are in the pipeline, including Villa Miami and Aria Reserve and so on. And of course, the Missoni Bahia was recently built as well. Of course, there's also 2600 Biscayne, which is mixed use, but it has a significant office component as well. But I think ultimately, if you live in Edgewater and you want office space, it's somewhat limited. But again, since we're so central, it's so easy to get to all the places that do have a tremendous amount of office space. Wynwood is one of the newer spots in town that has quite a significant amount of office space. A lot of what they built there is mixed use, and either pure office components or mixed use. And they have really pretty stuff over there. And then, of course, you have downtown, which is a handful of blocks away, and you can get to Brickell in 15, 20 minutes. So it's all there. In a way, that's what makes Edgewater also special, in that it's not incredibly dense, doesn't have an incredible amount of office, so it feels more like a residential neighborhood. And the things that are being built are built to cater to the residential needs as opposed to the office needs, I think. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think having that close proximity of all the conveniences of Midtown and the office and the restaurants of Wynwood and the retail and the restaurants of Design District, it's nice to have. It's almost like this urban suburb.
And of course, the heart and the draw of Edgewater, more than anything, is Margaret Pace Park, one of the most well-regarded parks on the mainland. It's bayfront. It has every kind of sport activity you can imagine.
Yeah, basketball, tennis, dog walk, children's park, marina.
It's just very, very vibrant. And they actually just announced a new master plan for it. And so we're excited to see how that develops, although that's going to be a 5 to 10 year project. But they're really intending to elevate it to match how the neighborhood is elevated as well. So now let's talk about Midtown, this cute little neighborhood sandwiched between all of these other amazing neighborhoods, right in between Wynwood, Design District to the north, and Edgewater to the east of it. And that's your latest ventures are all in Midtown. What is the appeal of Midtown, maybe with a little contrast to Edgewater? Tell us a little bit about the history of Midtown and then what strikes you as different about it.
So Midtown was master planned about 20 years ago. It used to be a railway yard. So a family came in and they purchased the land and they master planned it for residential. What's great about this is that they planned it for people to live there. Many of the areas here in Miami, they are retrofit for residential. I think we could say Brickell is one of those. Wynwood used to be a warehouse area. And they do work, but when you have an area that's master planned for residential, they have a number of nuances that they can take care of, in the planning. So, for example, they have the right landscaping and lighting so that people feel safe. They have the correct amount of cafes, outdoor seating, retail stores. So Midtown's like this epicenter of convenience. This is where if people go every day to go to the gym, to get their nails done, to go to the hair salon, grab a coffee. There's lots of dining options there. There's the convenient shopping there. There's Trader Joe's. They also have parks. So it's a super, super convenient place to live. When I first started working in the area, I was overwhelmed by the response from residences. So they were just so happy to live in Midtown. And it feels almost like a secret. It feels like something that the rest of the market doesn't understand. So we have a lot of buyers that have purchased, they've purchased one of the older buildings in Midtown, and now the area has matured and they've matured. So when they first moved in, this area was a singles area, right? We knew it as singles and couples, maybe something like what Wynwood is today. And then now those same people are walking around with a baby stroller and they've had a promotion and they're making more money. And now they want a residence that matches, their new life. And they need more space, and they want something a little bit more elevated. So this is where Miami Tropic comes into play because it was a needed project. And we can talk about that as well if you like.
Let's talk about that. What's your What's your let's go with your favorite projects that are already built in Edgewater.
Okay.
And what's being built. And then let's do the same here in Midtown, and we can talk about Miami Tropic, because I'm sure that is your favorite. It's my favorite.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, in Edgewater, I have to go with my building, Paramount Bay. It's it's not an old building, but it's been in the market for about 14 years or so. It's a beautiful location, great views. It's known as a building that's operated very well. I love the residents. So I love living there. It's all professional people and it's families. And these are the people that we're seeing more and more of in Edgewater.
Yeah. And for those of you who've been following me for a while, it's no secret that I also live in Paramount Bay. What is a secret is somehow Ann and I end up living in the same buildings.
Yeah.
We started together in Edgewater in a different building for many years. She moved away for a while. And then
I did live at a house, and Sep didn't live with me in the house. So I just want to make it
clear. We don't follow each other at every location, but now we're both back in Paramount Bay because we both have great taste, and it is a great building.
We do look at properties all day long, and we both selected that one, so there must be something about it, right? And then as for the newer construction, I like Elysee. It's a boutique scale. I like the architecture. I like the floor plans. I think that's a beautiful building.
Yeah, they're all half floor and full floor.
Yeah.
So they're very spacious.
Yeah, it feels very elegant. So I really love that building.
Yeah, I'm interested to see Villa Miami in its final state. Helipad,
Oh yeah, Villa Miami. They have the half and full floors. Their pricing starts around $5.5 million, which is interesting for their half floor, about $9.5 million for their full floor. But they're bringing a lot of luxury. They're doing this private club concept in their amenities. They're doing helipad. They have fantastic views. And they're busy. So there's a lot of people that are transitioning from a home that are moving to that building.
And then what about Midtown? What's your favorite project that exists? And then what's on the horizon?
I have to say, for what's on the horizon, Miami Tropic, right? We'll get back to that. For the existing, I've always been a fan of 2 Midtown. I think it stood the test of time in terms of design. It's got a beautiful architecture. I love the lobby.
And what are some key things that you love about Miami Tropic Residences, and why you think it's the next phase of Midtown?
Yeah, so I think this was actually a needed project. The existing inventory, they're nice, but floor plans tend to be a little bit smaller. The amenities package was from the older generation, where it was a pool, a gym, a business center, maybe a few other things in a beautiful lobby. So now we're in another generation. Now people are remote working, so they want co-working space, they want wellness features, they want more service. Miami Tropic offers all of those things. And we have our partner on this project is Jean-Georges, and he's a Michelin chef. He's one of, if not the best chef in the world. So we're extremely excited to have him as a partner. And the concept of the building is really about taking care of people. If you speak to him, he would say, food is love. And food is, a lot.
I agree. Food is
yeah, a lot of cultures, they show their love by cooking and by feeding their families, and they're in the kitchen. And this is kind of an extension of what we're trying to create here at Miami Tropic, and what we're doing with Jean-Georges as a partner. So, we've got 54,000 square feet of amenities on site. Everything from private dining to spa to co-working to, kids' room and all kinds of stuff. So very exciting.
I really think it makes a lot of sense for the area. The floor plans are larger. People are seeking that. A lot of people are moving from not only here locally, not only here in Midtown, but from other parts of Miami, are looking for large spaces that are convenient. Single-family homes can offer some really great benefits, and it's a really great lifestyle and not so convenient. You don't have to be fidgeting with this and that all day long in a condo, and you can lock up and go. And, families are looking for, and just everyone is looking for larger spaces. Even the folks that are coming from, other big cities in the U.S. that are transplants moving here, that's what they're looking for. So I think that we're seeing that here in the Miami Tropic. We're seeing that in the Villa. We're seeing that in Aria Reserve. We're seeing that in every building that's being built now. Although, this is very unique because it's the only option in Midtown. And I like that it's right next to the Design District. Speaking of that, a lot of the things that are going for Edgewater also are going for Midtown, right? In Midtown, actually, you can walk across the street on the north side of Midtown and be in the Design District and shop at every major luxury brand known to mankind practically. And like you said, Midtown has an incredible amount of restaurants and cafes. It's really a few square block neighborhood that you could never leave and you would be pretty darn satisfied. One of the things that you might want to leave for is to go to the beach, of course, right? Which you can do by just right on 36, which is the north side of Midtown. Just go due east and you'll be on the beach in a handful of minutes, right? Yeah. And then for entertainment, you're going to be going into downtown. The Adrian Arch Center, the Kaseya Center, all those things are 10 minutes drive away. And then, of course, Wynwood has the arts, right? So you have Wynwood, which is on the south side of Midtown, southwest side. You can also walk, right, if you want, or a very, very short drive. So it has the shopping you need, it has the entertainment you need, and so much of what you need is already just baked into because it's master plan, as you said. So it's really a wonderful neighborhood, and Miami Tropic's going to be an amazing addition to it. And I think there's going to be more to come after that, right? It's not going to end.
There are some limitations because there aren't that many more lots left to build. I think you mentioned Design District, and I think I never have the conversation about location without mentioning both Midtown and the Design District. This particular lot happens to be right on the edge of Midtown and adjacent to the Design District. So this becomes a really, really important lot. It's almost the bridge, right? So once this is built, we're going to have this beautiful Jean-Georges ABC kitchens in 10,000 square feet on the ground floor. And then we'll have boutique shopping. So this is going to extend the pedestrian promenade that already exists in Midtown, and it brings it closer to the Design District. So we're going to have this, I think more of a connection after the building is built.
So, Anne, to close out, talking about the future, where do you see the future of Midtown and Edgewater?
I'm really excited about it. So I think that we are already on this trajectory of building better quality, more luxurious product in terms of condominiums. The community develops and it becomes more robust with more features that accommodate everyday life for people. I think that Midtown upgrades a little bit. The retail and the restaurants, I think we're going to see kind of an elevation. We've already seen a couple of restaurants. We're going to have the Jean-Georges ABC kitchens. That's going to help. There's Maddie's, which is a Peruvian restaurant that just came to Midtown. That's kind of, they've won a lot of awards. So I see it becoming a little bit more luxurious and continuing on the same trajectory.
Absolutely. No, I feel that Midtown, the trajectory is that it's always been really well planned and very convenient. But I think the word is elevated. It's going to be, the future is going to continue to be elevated. You have the standard residences that is getting built, which is a project you sold. And then now Miami Tropic as well. And then you have in Edgewater, every project that gets built on the waterfront massively elevates Edgewater. And all of the waterfront restaurants coming there massively elevates it as well. It's the obvious trajectory. Actually, I want to quote the person, but I don't remember who said it. They described Edgewater in a very interesting way. They said it was the Riviera of the Design District.
That's funny. I love it.
So, the Design District draws so many people from all over the world. And now, not only Edgewater is the option, but Midtown is too with the Miami Tropic residences. Well, Anne, thanks so much for spending time with us today, sharing your knowledge about Midtown and Edgewater and the wonderful trajectory that they're having.
Thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having you here.
And if you are interested in exploring more about Midtown and Edgewater and potentially would like to purchase a property here, feel free to reach out. The numbers are on the screen, as well as you can check out the latest availability anytime, day or night at condoblackbook.com. And of course, do not miss our other video on Jean-Georges Miami Tropic Residences in Midtown with Anne. In the meantime, have a wonderful day and see you on the next video.